Hello. Good night, everyone. Welcome to Make It Happen with Chamara. I'm actually very, very excited about tonight because I have three ladies joining me today. And this is actually the first time I'm going to be doing a live with more than one other person. Um, so this should be very interesting. But we're actually talking about the essence of motherhood today. And we're looking at some of the things that we as mothers about very often. So tonight I have with me, not sure where it is now. Okay. I have with me Gabrielle Cole. She's joining us now. I'm also going to be having Rhasheda Skeete and Nadia Brancker with me tonight. Let me add Nadia. Nadia is saying that you're going to need the latest version of Instagram to join. So I don't know if you could quickly upgrade your Instagram so that you could join the call. Yeah. Right. And I'm not sure if Rhasheda joined in that space. Okay. So hi, Gabby. While
Hi.
we wait on the others to join us, could you tell us a bit more about who you are and what it is you do?
Yes. So my name is Gabby, and can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I have my phone plugged into my computer, and there's like all these speakers, so I didn't know what's going on. So I am a mother of 9-year-old twin girls, and I'm currently living in Napa Valley. So I'm in the process of transitioning from my corporate job into entrepreneurship. And the reason or the way that I was introduced, or I don't know if push is the right word, but brought into this journey is that I realized one day that my little girls were mimicking and absorbing and copying everything that I do. So I was like, ooh, I need to set a really good example of what confidence and self-assurance and determination looks like. And I felt like at that time I wasn't doing that because I was so burnt out and anxious and unhappy with my job that I wasn't presenting that to them. And I was like, I have to change my life. And so I've started off on a journey of creating a system for moms called Maze that is designed to help them do just that, find out what they are passionate about, who they are as individuals, and how to live life as the best version of themselves for their children every single day.
Nice. Okay. Thank you for that. All right. So before we go on, I'm going to ask Rhasheda and Nadia to introduce yourselves. And then when you're done, I'll introduce myself and then we'll get the conversation started. So, Rhasheda.
Hi. Um, 1 second, you can raise it up at the side.
Before we go on, I'm going to ask Rhasheda and Nadia.
All right. So, hi everyone. I am Rhasheda Skeete, and I am a virtual administrative professional. And I have a full 9 to 5 job. I pretty much provide remote administrative and social media management services to busy entrepreneurs. And I also have a t-shirt line called Royalties that I also started during COVID. I've been doing what I've been doing for, I want to say, since 2014, and just been making strides in developing and just helping busy entrepreneurs just do what they love while I do everything that they don't like. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a mom to 60-year-old and 3-year-old boys. Lord help us. But it's been interesting being a boy mom, especially on the spectrum that I have it older and younger. Very, very interesting dynamic in this household. So it's a little bit about me.
Okay. And Nadia.
Hi, I'm Nadia. I'm the mommy of 2-year-old twin boys. So imagine that spectrum. So it's a lot of work. It's very demanding. And before I go into, what I do, I never thought that I would have, I'm an only child, and I love kids, but I normally like kids when already, sorry about that, they're already potty trained and we can run around. So imagine my shock when the doctor said, you're gonna have a twin. And that was the first time I actually even changed the diaper, made formula. So imagine that.
Wow.
Yep. So I have been in journalism for 10 years, and I decided after I had my kids that I would go into my own little business, you know, start doing communications. And there was a pandemic. So then obviously I was home with the kids. So now it's trying to navigate my career, trying to, you know, be the best mother that you can be as well. So I think one of the topics I'll be looking at would be, you know, you lose yourself a bit with kids, trying to find back that balance, you know, who you are and trying to reach those goals. So that's a bit about me.
Okay, thank you, ladies. For those of you who don't know me, I am Chamara Hollingsworth. I am the CEO of Vision to Reality International. And what I do is I help female entrepreneurs to connect with their tribe and scale up their business. And in short, that's really helping my tribe to either get and keep repeat clients or help them to build the back end of their business so that they can build out their team, right? And I am a mother of 3 girls, 12, 7, and 3. I have to remember the 7 because it turned 7 on Monday. And it's an interesting journey for me because I always say that I feel like my first daughter was false advertising. Like, you know, she was the quiet one, very obedient, you know, very engaging to talk to. And then my second daughter came along and she's that wild, you know, the one that you always have to speak to. So it's interesting having, you know, those completely different dynamics in terms of personalities and so on. So I think we have quite a few things that we can talk about tonight, as it relates to being a mother and the whole concept of the pandemic and so on. So feel free, anybody, to jump in, get the ball rolling so that we can get started on our discussion. In the meanwhile, anyone who is in the audience, feel free, if you have any questions or comments, just click the question mark that is to the right-hand side of the bottom right-hand side of the screen. There's a circle with a question mark in it. You can drop your questions in there, and we will check in on the questions every once in a while and seek to answer them as best we could. Okay.
Okay. So I'll start. Just going back to our topic. Our topic is what mothers, you know, don't talk enough about. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was, now you have kids and your life has changed. It is almost like you have to, and it may sound a bit dramatic, it's almost like you have to grieve that person. You were a person who used to just get up and go and do work and party, and that was who you were. And now, you know, you have kids, which is great, but it's still finding, you know, the joy of that person, still being, at the end of the day, not only a mommy, but also being Nadia. And Nadia who loves to dance, and Nadia who still like Kropova, which I really miss. And, you know, just finding yourself, and it's okay to say, you know what, I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I want to go to a party. I want to go out. I want to do something else. And it's okay to say that. And I think a lot of mothers feel like you don't love your children enough if you don't say, like, I'm tired. I need to, you know, find a little time for myself. And I think we need to talk about it more. We need to say, look, it is okay. We're not super moms. We can't be super moms every day. You know, we're doing our best, but we still need to be ourselves. We need to find our goals. We need to have fun. We still need to find what makes you you. And for me, I'm very passionate about it.
I think unfortunately we have been, and that's in the Caribbean, as women, we've been taught the minute you become a mother, you have to be selfless to your children. Now, as you said, we've had kids, we love it, we've now transitioned into motherhood. But transitioning into motherhood does not mean that I have to lose
Yeah.
me. I don't,
Yeah.
if I,
Yeah.
and that then goes into mommy guilt. That's
Yeah.
something I deal with hugely.
Mhm.
I want to do these things. I have all these goals. I do not want to go outside and play. I love you so much, baby, but mommy is tired. I
Yeah.
do not want to play football with you right now. I
Mhm.
just want
Yeah.
to curl up in my bed with a glass of wine. But then you're looked at like,
You know, you can't
but
do
you're
that.
his mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to shelve how you feel and be selfless and give consistently to your children.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of mothers out there that quietly deal with depression,
Yeah.
quietly deal
Anxiety.
with anxiety,
Correct.
quietly deal with and completely overwhelmed by mommy guilt. Mommy guilt is a big thing. But we
Huge.
are made to be shamed if we say, I am taking a staycation and y'all are going by your grandmother.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're not
My
on
my
fire, do
kids
not call my phone.
And then add up
my
my
kids have
So
been at my in-laws house for 3 weeks now, and at the beginning I felt so guilty. I was so excited, and I was like, yeah, this is great. I'm such a bad mom for being excited that my kids are gone. But then eventually I got over it. Like, I deserve that. I worked hard over the pandemic to watch those kids. Like, I deserve the
listen,
time.
and
the
even more
pandemic
pandemic
was
now. Yeah. The
the
pandemic made
pandemic
that
was
like
something serious.
work.
Like this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
now you see, I have, as I said, two different spectrums. So the 60-year-old, he entertains
Yeah.
himself, bless the Lord. But like you, Chamara, like he was a handful. Seth was a handful. But the little one, he is different. He is
Yeah.
very intelligent. He's very outspoken, very mouthy, very, this is what I want and I want it now.
Yeah.
And
And everybody wants it
entertaining
now.
or everybody might want it now.
Certainly now.
Mommy wants to sleep. The four walls feel like they're going to swallow me.
Yes.
And
Yep.
if you say mama one more time, I am going to scream.
But remember,
You know,
But then it's
and
like,
now they
oh,
don't
Kadir,
Yeah.
he's 2 and not at that time and not understanding what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So it's the balance that you have to figure out. It is okay to cry. It is
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay to lock yourself in the bathroom.
Yes. I've done that
It
many
is
times.
okay if you don't want to share your snacks.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think
But you
actually my
get
children
that
have gotten to the point
different.
where they know when it comes to certain things like chocolates, don't even ask. You're wasting your time. That's mine, right? One of the things, for instance, Nadia, you mentioned us being in the, well, I can't remember who, but you mentioned that we were in the Caribbean culture. So, I would like Gabby to tell us where she's from, right? Because I know.
Yeah, I was born in Wisconsin and grew up in California. So I am California girl through and through.
Right. I asked
Yeah.
that specifically because I think it would be interesting to see if
Yeah.
there are any major differences between
Yeah.
what's expected from where you are from
Yeah.
here. 'Cause we are the three of us. We're all
Yeah.
from Barbados,
Yeah.
and
Barbados.
Right.
we actually all, interestingly enough, went to the same secondary school.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
cool.
So we did know each other for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Before we go on, Tanisha is saying this is why the village is so important. So here in the Caribbean, I'm not sure if this is a saying overseas as well. We have this thing, it takes a village to raise a
Yeah.
child, right? And I actually wanted to touch on that too because like I'm very blessed. I have a support system with my mother. The other day I had an appointment. I asked my mother if she could keep the children for me for the appointment. And then I told her, okay, so this was a Tuesday. I said, I'm coming back for them on Thursday. All right. I kind of tricked her into it, but at the end of the day, I knew that I
Yeah.
needed those couple of days, for my
Yeah.
mental space, right?
Yeah.
But I can't imagine what it would be like if I didn't have her support,
Right.
and her
Yeah.
willingness to be able
We
to
have
keep
a
the
a
children.
new respect for our mothers, a respect
Mm-hmm.
for our aunts and everybody that, has been in our life.
For
Because
sure.
without them, some days,
Yeah.
you need somebody to cook, somebody to, yeah, you have to sign the village. Because I don't know, and I have a lot of respect for mothers who would just do it alone because
Yeah.
and then we have to talk about mental issues and mental awareness, because there are a lot of mothers suffering from anxiety that they're just
postpartum depression.
Them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So at least
Yeah.
we're lucky that we have people say, you know, you can cook. Like my mother, I can't, so my mother would cook, or you know, their dad's mom would cook. You need somebody to just help some days, because I don't know how you do it. Yeah.
You know what's interesting is that I just read a book called Not Having It All, How America Messed Up Motherhood. And they were talking about how, like, in the 1950s in America, there was this rise of, like, the suburban housewife. And the suburban housewife was white, upper middle class, and it was idolized that she would stay at home and raise her kids. And there was no, like, it takes a village type thing whatsoever, but that was common in minority groups. So it was like shunned because, oh, you can't afford to be able to stay home with your kids. But now it's the tables have turned, and it takes a village has turned into the new thing. So I feel like minority groups have been doing that for much longer than the broader population has, which I find very interesting. But it was a good read. It's a motherhood feminist book. So I think it's by Amy Westerfeld. I think it was a pretty good read. I thought that was interesting.
How do y'all feel about, I always call it mommy judgment. I remember a mom actually said to me, we're talking about jumping or, you know, costumes and stuff. And she said to me, but you're a mom now, you're still going to jump? And I thought to myself, oh, wow. Or, you know, somebody say, yeah, like, you and there's a lot of judgment out there, or, oh, you don't give your child, you know, kale every day, you know, whatever it is. There's a lot of judgment to me that we take out of the conversation. Like, it's like we already have it hard. We don't need that. Everybody.
Yeah.
That's as much as there's mommy guilt, there's mommy judgment. And
Judgment.
I think it doesn't matter when you have your children. Before, it was frowned upon to have your kids young. I had my first son when I was 19, 20 years old. But I came up with a mom who babysat children. So I came up seeing her and learning all the little baby tricks, and I knew how to change a pamper from very young. So when I got pregnant young, yes, it was scary. Yes, it was hard. My mother didn't live in Barbados at the time, so I kind of didn't necessarily have. I had a village, but it wasn't that big of a village. And because of watching my mother, I knew certain things, but I was judged from one, having a baby at a young age, and two, automatically people thought I didn't know how to parent because I was young. They automatically think that, you know, that you were promiscuous because you got pregnant young. And because of that, they shame you. So there's mommy judgment and mommy shaming because of the age you had your children. But I feel like it's everybody doesn't have it, but automatically something clicks when you have your kids.
And if it doesn't click right away, that's okay too.
And that's okay. You know, sometimes it doesn't click. Everybody, as I said, everybody doesn't happen right away, but something, most of the time, that maternal instinct comes in. And we also have to come away from thinking that you have to be perfect. You can make mistakes as a mother. There is that's the only way you'll learn, is if you make a mistake. You know? But that mommy judgment is huge. I remember I was in Bridgetown with my first son, and he was strapped on me. And he was a solid baby. He was a really solid baby. So he was on me, and I'm going through town. As much as he's on me, I'm dressed very, very nicely. And I'm in Shafet again. I never forget. I'm in Shafet getting something to eat, and I heard these two ladies behind me. These young people is just get these children to put their brand on them. And then, like, he got on clothes. Now, if I did not have on the clothes with the socks when he foot in town with the sun scalding me, I would have been chewed out. If I didn't carry myself, whatever you do, why is she so dressed up just to be in town? Like, why not? I am a woman who still feels beautiful, who still wants to look a certain way. Like, why can I not carry myself like that? It's like you never do it right. If you don't dress up, you're judged. If you do dress up, you're judged. Like, what am I supposed to do? If you dress too sexy, like, oh my God, but you got kids at home, so I still have a waistline.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty, like, I'm supposed to still look, sir, I
And
don't lose
if you don't
my
bake,
curves
do
because I'm a
craft
mom.
every day, you know, like you might not
Mhm.
be use bake cookies and do craft. And I'm not good at craft or anything like that. I didn't
I
know
don't do any of that.
but but you know, you're supposed to do these things, and if you don't, oh my goodness. And if your child is
Yeah.
not doing this particular method or whatever method, and I think we just
Yeah.
because I think what we're doing then is putting so much pressure on ourselves.
Pressure.
Yes.
We send ourselves crazy.
Yeah. I
And then
think you have to be
sometimes do it every
secure
week,
in
and
who
I'm like, oh
you
my
are
goodness, I'm
too.
not doing this method of feeding. I didn't, oh no, and I didn't do that. And then you start to be like, why am I, the child is fine. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm feeling guilty because, you know, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. And I think we really, as women, we really need to take this out so that we can have real conversations and say, you know, this is how I feel. And this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And okay, we're not having those real conversations. We're pretending we're perfect. We're pretending that everything is good. Then we suffering from anxiety. You can't sleep. Yeah, the doctor all the time. And I think this generation, we need to say, you know, we can't do it all, and that's okay. Stop all the
Yeah.
judgment.
That's fine.
Yes, I can't make shakes every day from natural juices or
I
whatever.
am going to get a chafette roti and a Coke.
Sometimes, yes.
We are going to have pizza for dinner.
Yes.
Or
And
ramen.
children actually love
Like,
those things, you know, like
Yeah.
just,
This is how
just
you
let
do
them enjoy
it.
it. Okay, before we go on to there have been a few comments. We had a few people saying, you know, that these types of conversations are definitely type of conversations that we really should be having more often. Tanisha at one point said, I scrolled through and I think I lost track, but Tanisha said, you know, eat the snacks before the children get home.
Yeah.
Um,
I automatically go for a walk. Coming back. Coming back.
I actually used to do that and kind of like hide and eat my snacks, but now it's like, no, I'm sorry. This
I
is
just take a
money. I
bath.
think I have to be
Mom's
able
going to the
to,
bath for 3 hours. I'll see you later.
you know, somebody said it's sad that 90% of the comments come from other women, and
They
that is
do.
so true.
Yeah.
One of the things, Nadia, you said earlier, and you made me think, is you talked about jumping for crop over, and one of the things I did, and I think it was purposely so. I have not jumped on Kadooment Day since I had my first daughter, who's 12.
Yeah.
However, I have jumped for a 4-day morning every day since I was like 15. Every year since I was 15. But I decided that I mean, 1 year I missed is when I had my second daughter and she was only 2 weeks old. Right? And I made it a point. I was like, okay, look, the reason I'm not jumping for Kadooment Day is because I think it's good for me to take the children to be able to see, you know, and experience crossover.
Yeah.
But for their morning is mine.
Yeah.
You know,
Tell me what this means. What is jump?
okay, sorry. So
Oh,
we have a festival. We have a crossover festival here in Barbados. So it has a number of different events. But on the
Uh-huh.
final weekend of the crossover season, there are two parades, so to speak. Right? So we call it jumping. It's really pretty much dancing going down the road.
It's
Right?
totally
yes,
And
amounts
so
of
there,
alcohol, loud
costume.
music,
Yeah,
skimpy
drinking,
costumes.
partying.
It's a
I've seen
beautiful
Rihanna do
day.
that.
yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. See Rihanna?
Okay.
Yes, that's it.
So one festival is at night, like in the wee hours of the morning into when the sun rises, and then the next one is during the day in the scorching hot sun.
Yeah.
That's the only day that you'll find they just not complain about being in the sun for hours on end is Kadooment Day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, fun. That sounds
And it's
fun.
very big for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And we've now
Very
is going into
important.
year 2
Yeah, it's hard.
that we are not
And
having
it's causing depression. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, serious thing.
Yeah.
seriously.
And we
That was
have
a
a
lot of people's outlet,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
partying, and that's another comment. And this is not only for women. Like, it really showed how people cope.
yeah.
Their coping mechanisms. We do not talk, and you touched on it, Nadia. We do not, as a society, talk enough about mental health and coping, like coping mechanisms. Here have been alcohol and steady, hardcore partying for years. And when it was taken away, like I know people who literally, I kid you not, went into withdrawal, went
I
into
am withdrawal. I am
genuine
the people.
depressions because that's the time of the year that they just release all stress,
Yeah.
all issues,
Yeah.
and then but apart from Krapova, there are people who are not coping with literally living in their own space. Like, spending time with themselves, they're not coping well.
It's hard.
Right.
I think
It's hard.
that being said, there's a question here. Popping Details is asking if it is harder now to raise kids in the time of technology.
Ooh, I can speak to this. So my kids are in a Spanish immersion school where they're speaking 90% Spanish, 10% English. My husband and I don't speak Spanish. So when it got to the pandemic, we had to Google Translate all of their homework, and Google Translate doesn't work that well. Not only that, each of my 9-year-olds their own laptop and had to teach school through the Google Suite. So I had to teach my 9-year-olds how to use Google Slide, Google Sheets, Google, all that. 9-year-olds. They were so upset. They were really frustrated. They didn't know how to do it, but it took them maybe 2 or 3 months, and now they're pro. Like they're basically hackers. Like they're like, "Mommy, I just made a slideshow. Want me to cast it to the TV?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I feel like this pandemic is going to change their generation for years to come. Like they're so tech savvy now.
The little ones. My
But
oldest.
tech savvy. But my question for you, because then it's a double. What was it? Double sided. Yeah, they're tech
I was just
savvy.
going to say.
But what about
Yeah.
the action as well? With people, because now we tell our children run from people. That's what pretty much we have to do. So what do you think about that? Because now technology has taken over. Obviously so much, and it's good to some extent, but we do see the interaction. So, and your kids are a bit older. So where do you stand there?
Yeah, so and I feel like with twins, you might experience this too. They are not ever isolated by themselves. They're always together. So they're always having conversation, getting into trouble, doing whatever together. So they never have the isolation issue, but they do they want their own YouTube channel. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, Mommy, we have 10 followers." I'm like, "Who cares?" But they're obsessed about how many followers they have. And I'm like, "Oh, I might need to cut this off before it gets bad."
They care.
And we have to put the parent guide on all the channels because they're trying to watch. They're like watching 10 or 12-year-old stuff. And I'm like, no, we can't be watching that. But I can't control it when they're just on the World Wide Web. So that's hard.
I actually it was interesting for me because I consider myself to be kind of old-fashioned on a certain level when it comes to parenting. So I was so distraught last year when my 12-year-old had to get a phone because she didn't have a device for school. And now she's all into the whole, I silently rejoiced when her phone stopped working, but now she's back. But she was like all on WhatsApp, and it was a different level of things. The things that she got in trouble for is like, okay, look, you can't put up these type of things, you can't put up these type of pictures. These are things, you are not going on. Like my younger daughter, I had to ban her from YouTube. She cannot watch YouTube.
Yeah.
The younger, like if they don't get YouTube, they'll go mad. They because they're home. So I don't to be able to do stuff. You have to give them some type of device.
You have to give them something. Yeah.
So then it's sort of
my little one uses his tablet. He is, and I keep a very close eye on him. Between me and my mom keeps a very close eye on what he watches. So he is huge on dinosaurs and construction. So that's what he watches. But my 16-year-old can comfortably sit on his tablet, between the tablet and his cell phone, from the minute he lifts his head off that pillow to the minute he goes to sleep. And I made a decision, and I had a conversation with it, and I know it hit him like a ton of bricks. He's not having his devices from August 1st until when school starts. I'm taking them from him. And why I'm taking them from him is not that I'm trying to be controlling, as though many people would say I am. I feel like he needs to come outside and get some sun. Have conversations. Literally. Like, go out to the beach, go to Sheraton, do the things that I remember I did as a teenager. Well, not knowing COVID, but to some extent, have some level of a social life. But everything is in this phone. Everything for him is this tablet. And if you ever try to get him off of that, it's like you bring down the world because you just ask him for 5 minutes. So I was like, okay, no, No. You'll get it one day a week to make sure that anybody that is your good friend hasn't died, and then you give me it back. Like, you read your textbooks, you do schoolwork, you play with your brother, you go outside and play football, like normal things. But I feel like our teenagers, especially, they live in a completely
different
world
Yeah.
in technology.
I think sometimes you really have to really, like, one of the things I battled with, especially in the beginning of the whole COVID, lockdown, everything, was that's when I started to realize I need to have some routines in place, right? Because it was like, there was a point where it's like, okay, look, everything is just out of control. Something needs to change. So I had to start to create daily patterns. So like, it got to the point where they now know that if 10 o'clock hasn't hit, nobody can ask me for a snack. Right? So what the most that would happen now is like, Mommy, what time is it? So by the time I start hearing that question, I know, look,
routine.
And then only one snack per day, then I had to also create rules. Like right now, one of the rules is nobody can touch any devices before 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Correct.
Do some sort of work in the morning, interact with each other,
Talk.
play, read, anything else. But you can't touch the TV, you can't touch a device until 1 o'clock, and you only have a 3-hour window. Before it was 90 minutes, but what I've done is like you have 3 hours to watch TV. It's three of y'all need to figure out who watching TV when, and not making that decision. So if you decide that you will allow them to watch TV today, and you don't get your chance, don't come to me complaining. Because when 4 o'clock hit,
because with my
have structure.
A twin structure and routine is so important. Like, you need to know what happening in the morning, what happening, and obviously it doesn't go smoothly because their kids will do their own thing, but I think having some level of structure or routine in your day, bedtime, we have playtime, we're doing this, I think that helps, especially with the pandemic, with the lockdown. Some days were just everything for themselves, but I think when you had your routine, at least you knew what was coming up. It's lunch. I think for mothers even to have a little time to themselves, because other twin moms will ask, you ever get to sleep, but you have to have them on a routine.
The same schedule,
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I observed one of my best friends. She has 2 sets of twins and a girl in between, and they're pretty young. So like, I know that at some point she kind of feels like she has no time for herself, especially with breastfeeding and all of that kind of stuff. But once she gets the structure in place, things work pretty
so
smoothly.
perfect, but it helps. What about body shaming as well? That we put on to a different topic. As some moms just had a baby, and somebody saying, "Well, you ain't bounce back, or you bounce back, or you snap back, or you snap back." I think body shaming for mothers too is is something, is a topic, because we're constantly being judged on your belly get back flat, your belly still, but you look bad for somebody who had a twin. Just tell me, you don't need to put that. I think we need to talk to other women a little bit. Instead of saying something negative, say, "Hey, your hair look good. Those are nice shoes." That we don't have to pinpoint all the rules or whatever going on.
Women generally just aren't nice to each other. It's unfortunate. They aren't.
It is
We are not nice to each other. We are our biggest critics. You know what I'm saying? Our hugest critics. And as much as we have all of this talk about female support and rallying around women and stuff like that, in their little pockets, women chastise, criticize, laugh at each other, the body shaming, so bad. As a plus size mommy, I've never been small. Never. And I've accepted and owned it. I look good. I do what I have to do. Lucky thing for me, I don't get, in my pregnancies, I don't get extremely big. I have a big belly and then it goes back in. And then thank God again for the village and the mentality of wrapping your belly and banning your belly and knowing that in pregnancy early you do things to at least hold your core in and stuff like that. But again, there are people who don't have that knowledge, who don't
Yeah.
have that support. Thank God for my mother. Thank God for my older sisters. Like, they don't have that. And instead of rallying around her when she has a little jiggle or she has something, you know, people be like, oh, you know, but she ain't snapped back yet, or, you know, she really
But that child is 3 years
to get
old.
back flat. This time the child is 6 days old.
Yes.
Give the woman a chance. Hello? Like, give her
Before
a
we go
chance.
on, we have two questions. One person is asking, what is our stance about singers or artists being cried down for being a bad influence on children?
I think it's the parents' responsibility to monitor their children, right? Like, I can't like, oh, kids are watching me. I'm gonna just change what I do. Like, it's my job to monitor what my kids are watching.
I agree. I fully agree with that.
Do you all remember the music that we grew up listening to?
All right, then. And
Yes.
honestly, though, I will say, right, when we were younger, music was done so well that we didn't catch on to what the France they were talking about until we became adults. The music these days are actually is actually more direct.
Yeah.
I think
That
that
is more direct.
Let's stick another pin there. Have you ever listened to some of the songs from the 1950s blues and
they
jazz?
were the most violent and promiscuous songs that you could ever come across. Yeah, our parents listened to them, and they turned out pretty funny.
Yeah, but you see, talk
they were not tactful.
Chamara, and
Pardon?
yeah, I believe it's a responsibility of the parents. As we grew up, our mothers and grandparents were our role models. No,
right?
Anybody's a child's role model. However, the technology, it is in their face all the time.
It is.
It had that. You know what I mean? So constantly in your face to want to be like whoever, if it's Megan Thee Stallion or whatever.
Right.
You might not show them, but a friend will show them. So even I change how they, you know, because you love music, and it's the parents' responsibility to kind of obviously shape that child. But we need to realize that things are in our kids' face more than we had it when we were young.
I also believe that it's very important to have conversations. Like, from the time my oldest daughter was young, anytime she watches anything, I would ask questions like, do you understand what's going on in this picture? We would have a discussion around that. And we have discussions around the music that plays. So if we were going down the road and certain music plays, and she would ask me questions about what are they talking about, and I would answer those questions. I try to answer the questions as openly as possible. And I think that helps, you know. You want to make sure that you have those, because you cannot shield them from everything. The same way you go to school and you learn things that our parents did not teach us. You know,
I was watching the Grammys, and it's the Grammys, and it's not like 5 o'clock at night, so I didn't think anything was going to be wrong. So I walked away, and I walked back, and WAP was on, and my daughters were like, "What's she doing with her bum?" And I was like, "Oh my." But it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's kind of hard. You're right. You can't control every aspect of it.
And no matter the seeds you plant, because you can have all the stimulating, open conversation at home. Our kids are two different people when they're with us and who they are at school, or when they're outside away from our eyes. So all we can do is hope that we set the foundation as best we can with our children, that as much as they're going to push the limits, because they're going to push the limits, they're going to push to see, you know, what can I get away with? What can I do? But you hope that you have enough conversation that it sticks in the back of their head at some point in time. You know what? This is not what I should really be doing. This is really not what I should be saying. This is not how I should carry myself. Like, you know, like hopefully. But they too have to make mistakes as children. They too have to go through the rigors and go through the changes of, I did this and I got lashes, or I got disciplined, or whatever. Let me not do this again. Or this, I ended up embarrassing myself. Or they too have to go through the rigors of life and understand that this is how life is. There are circumstances and consequences to things that you do.
You talk about circumstances and consequences. People say that, you know, this generation of parenting, that kids are entitled and everybody's a winner. And so, you know, like, obviously when you were young and you lost a race, you know, you can last. Everybody wasn't getting a
you can last.
You
get a trophy.
Your parents said you can't run. Running ain't for you. And we were pretty, you know, it was pretty honest. But no, they're so entitled and everybody's great and every child is so good and so smart And are we creating some entitled children as well that that will cause? What do you think?
Like sometimes as a mother, I observe my children, and there are moments when I'm like, oh my gosh, I've done something right. I have the sweetest children in the world. And then there are times I look at them and it's like, where these little spoiled children come from?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Like
Must
my
sell them
youngest
to
daughter,
stitch
she does
shirt
this.
tags in shirts in Malaysia.
She she she's at this point now where if she doesn't get what she wants, no, is a full-on meltdown. And a part of me is like,
This is your last daughter, the little one?
yes, yes.
Yeah, my
And the
3-year-old
funny
too.
thing, and she's also the one, dare I say, I love her dearly. She not no manner. Right? Anybody sees my other children and they see her in terms of how she interacts with people and how direct she is and how she does not say please and thank you, they will want to know if they were raised in completely different
In the
households.
same
Yeah.
household.
Yeah.
So it like sometimes I wonder like, okay, did I do something wrong? Like where did I go wrong? How did
No.
and then
Mom said y'all didn't throw tantrums for these tantrums things that happen. No, and they do. You're like, as soon as
We couldn't throw tantrums. We would not be alive to tell the story if we threw
No.
tantrums.
Yeah, maybe we
What
were
do you
Absolutely
mean?
not.
Throw tantrums.
because we all hear
We
about
had to go
tantrums.
in our bedroom and quarrel on mute when our parents told her anything. So we in the bedroom like, but nothing is coming out. Nothing's coming out of our mouth because we not dare do that because we want
Same.
to live to see
But
another
these
day.
little kids at 2
Yeah.
now, they don't have those issues. They're not frightened to throw tantrums and we didn't
No.
do it at 2 or at 3
Even
You
now, I
gotta
don't
nip
talk back to my
in the
mom
bud, though.
now.
You have to nip that. Like you gotta let them understand. This is not it.
Yeah.
I am not that mommy.
Yeah.
I am not that mommy. I will not drag your soul like my mother dragged mine, but that I am not. I'm not that mommy. You have, and it's like, oh, we have to have conversations with them. And I've been blessed. It has been handed down through the generations of the look. When I give you that look,
yeah,
understand.
my children get that too.
That's some of these little kids know their body look no.
They're different. They really are different though, They are really
I think
different.
In general, they're more direct. I like the fact that they're more open. They're not afraid to speak their mind. But then it's about teaching them how to speak their mind in a respectful way.
Yeah.
Not hold on your head and speak. You can speak directly, but you don't have to sound abrupt and then one of the things that I observed, especially when my oldest daughter was younger, like I'm the type of mother, you have a vagina and men and boys have penises. So then what used to happen is she would go and she would say something related to vagina or penis, or people would be like, oh, and I'm like, what do you want her to call it? I don't understand it. But to me, I think I like that they're direct and they're able to really speak up and say. What I find interesting is like in personality types, like my younger 2 children, they are very, very direct. My middle daughter, she is direct in such a way that is so joyful. So she will tell you what's on her mind, but there's always this glee to whatever she's saying. So people will be like kind of taken aback by what she's saying, but still they will feel laughter in it because here it is. And my youngest daughter, she's like, I do not want to talk to you right now. So stop. There's no glee.
And you
imagine
that when we were young? I don't want to talk to you right now, Mom. Like, I just want to be bold and assertive and confident. But it's that level of there that's the problem. Yeah. We want our kids to be able to speak up. We don't want, like, back in the day, you don't speak, you don't have open conversations. We want children that can speak, that can, say,
express themselves,
have a confidence.
Correct. But but we gotta balance it too. There's a balance here.
No when and where. Yeah. Carl Seal, before we go on, is asking, how do we balance parenting with the demands of the pandemic?
There was no balance. It was a hot mess. There was no balance. I was working from home. The kids were schooling from home. My husband was in my space. I'm like, I can't. Like, it got to the point where I couldn't even cook. I couldn't even think about what to cook anymore. Like, all I do all day long is feed people, and I'm not a chef. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, it was too much.
I remember there was a time when I used to be like, ugh, I really wish I could work from home.
No.
Be careful what you wish for.
I know.
Because work gave you a separation.
Yes.
Something separation is necessary. You know what I mean? It gave
Yeah.
you, I cannot tell you how much I miss getting dressed up for work. I dress up for work a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I was literally home the bummiest of bum.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I would roll out of bed,
Yeah.
literally roll
Just
out of bed and clock
Yeah.
in.
survival. Yeah.
And I had to intentionally judge, like, make myself feel good, because
Yeah.
the first couple of months it was panic, it was fear, it was tension, it was anxiety, it was heart racing every time somebody came to your house. You whip up the alcohol, you got the
You're like a
wipes,
ninja.
you got the groceries in the sink, you're washing them down for all the blood of Jesus. And then things lifted a little. Okay, we lifted a little, back down again, panic again, fear again, somebody coughed in the line and you're like,
Yeah.
If your own child has a low temperature, your own child who can have a snotty nose, wait a minute. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We contact trace? You got a fever? Who touched you?
Your own has a fever and you going mad. You like, everybody come back. That is a hard thing.
Like, I see Tanisha now put it like, what name balance? What's that? Like, what balance? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And then I had the brave
idea.
I started a business in the pandemic. I
Same.
started a business in the pandemic. I don't know, and I love my business. I did it from a wholesome place, but I was like, girl, what are you doing? You have
to do something, because your mind is like going crazy.
Was to just keep, like, for you not to feel like if you were losing your mind, you had to use your mind.
Had to walk every morning and evening. I might know people in the neighborhood. Everybody knew me by that point, because I just needed to just get out of the house for 5 minutes.
Outside.
I never expected that I would have 2 kids home for 2 years.
Yeah.
Listen to me, right? I said, you know, at some point you say, all right, to go in nursery,
daycare boy.
Daycare, 2 years.
Jeez,
from
New Year.
Yeah, it was handling it in a pandemic. It was, as you said, it was anxiety, it was fear. It felt like, you know, and then even calling a doctor felt like if you had to go through 100 questions, you know, if your child had a cold, and there's a fear in that you just can't get up and go to the doctor comfortably anymore with little kids. So imagine that fear for a new mother or for a mother, especially young kids. It was a lot. And there are a lot of women I know had to go to doctors and get anxiety pills and different things because it became so overwhelming to manage the responsibilities of the household, kids, and keep your job. All in a pandemic. All, you know, it was a lot. I think what is the only good thing about it, I guess, in terms of coping, you had to find the strength you had. Like, eventually you had to say, listen, I can't go mad no more. So it had to it helped you to build, or to see some of those issues that you have there and try to say, you know what, I need to be better for my kids. I need to start a business for my kids. I need to be less anxious for my kids. I need to be able to, cook something.
My sister lives in Canada. My cousin lives in New York, and we started a chat, and we call it the Good Shut-ins in the height of the pandemic. Listen, we baked on that WhatsApp chat. We cooked on that WhatsApp chat. We did a sip and paint on that WhatsApp chat. We got so creative to keep each other from going start raving mad. I kid you not.
I saw a comment there that says the pandemic.
The ash nearly broke her.
Listen to me.
The ash was it for me.
The ash was it for me.
Was it?
The ash was it for me. I was ready to meet. I was ready.
Lord, you must know best from here now, because
I can't do it no more.
The children they watch tablet. Do what you feel right now.
Yeah, I'm ready. I made my cross and sitting at my desk working and they looking upside, but it's 3 o'clock in the day, I'm not sitting up at 9:30.
Yeah.
Who
So now
is
you're
this here for
saying
you?
that you
No?
can go outside and play
Okay,
2-year-old
so
and play now. So imagine that.
for Gabby's, um, I can't find the word, but so that Gabby understands what we were talking about.
Right.
So a neighboring island had a volcanic
I
eruption.
figured it was a volcano. Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
then the ash was going over to our island, and it was total darkness and
Yeah.
full on.
Yeah.
So for me, one of the things that I had challenges with is because I started this thing where the children were going outside at 3 or 4 o'clock every evening. That was the thing. And then when the ash came, I was like,
That same thing for
Done.
me. So you offset routine. You can't offset routine.
Listen, I can't tell you
I'll
how
tell you.
it hurt. And then I tell myself, all right, because y'all understand the level of events we had. There was COVID,
Yeah.
there was COVID A, and COVID 1, and COVID 1.A, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
COVID 1.B.
Yeah.
Then we
Yeah.
had the ash.
Yeah.
Then we had the freak hurricane here the other
Yeah.
day with the
Yeah.
thing in the
Oh.
middle of the night.
Yeah.
Then Elsa decided to blow
Yeah.
on through.
It's a
And I
lot.
had, like, it's like you're
Oh.
constantly
Tired.
clutching your pearls like,
What next?
Yeah.
what next?
Mhm.
And that's not
What
a good
next?
feeling to be in because you're always
Yeah.
anxious, looking for something.
Yeah.
Anxious because it's like, all right, we're in the middle of hurricane season and straight off the bat, Elsa come and show she hold behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think mentally and as much and as strong as I want to be, mentally to go through anything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Um, I have, well, I have 2 questions, but I am so convinced that baby brain doesn't go away because I can't remember my second. But my thing was I'm an introvert, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know if what to call my children. I know that my second daughter for sure is an extrovert,
Mhm.
right? My first daughter would seem introverted, but she actually interacts with people very, very well.
Mhm.
And my last daughter, I just can't figure out because one minute she doesn't talk to people at all, and the next minute she talks to everybody on the sun. So maybe I'm ambivert, right?
Yeah.
Now, the pandemic in itself and me being home and not having to be around people in general, I was pretty okay.
Same.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm an introvert. It's like I'm home.
Introvert.
When everything was going on, I was quite comfortable being home. So no, here I am. But then one of the things was then you have 3 children talking in your ears.
Yeah.
Every single moment. So like there were points where I really felt like I was going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But then my question is how well I can Rhasheda's an extrovert. I thought you were an introvert, but clearly not, Nadia.
Really? Introvert?
I thought so. I really
I
did.
don't think she knows
But,
you good enough, Nadia.
that
Never
doesn't
was.
know clearly not.
Never was.
Right? And I'm not sure about you, Gabby, but for me, it's like how, as an introvert, do you handle having extroverted children? Right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to lock them out, and I don't like to block my children's blessings. I don't want to, like for instance, my
silence them
younger
either.
daughter, I said, I want to go this place, I want to go that place, and I'm like, nah, let's just stay home. But then I have to like kind of force myself to like get up and go out so that the children could actually enjoy life.
Okay.
So it.
Yes, Chamara,
Enjoy
you have
life.
to go outside.
But if I had the opportunity to, I would probably be a hermit.
Yeah.
Are my boys are extroverts too, both of them. I think the little one, if he don't like you, you'll know. My oldest he'll feel you out, but they're both very outspoken kids. But they're also homebodies like their mother. So for me, I can agree and say I am not some person who is out there a lot. I partied hard when I was younger. They ain't out there for me. I know what it is. But my challenge was not being able to move when I wanted to.
Too.
If I said I want to go and have a mango chow from Cocktail Kitchen,
Yeah, I want to do it.
I had to figure out a timing, a window that I could go in before you hear the sound from, what is that, the purge in your head. You're telling yourself you need to get home or the police can take you up. Like, and the stresses of that was difficult. Then no, you couldn't have time with your children outside because there's only so much you can do
inside
in the house. There's only so much craft, only macaroni you can stick and glue. There's only so much things you can do to keep children who are normally like, there's only so much. Outside was a necessity. So I honestly, I saw Tamisha said earlier, they got all the screen time. Like the tablet is yours. If at one point I was trying to be like, he can't be on the tablet.
Just go on.
Yes. Yeah. Do you think?
Yeah.
When you ready to sleep, when it dies.
To your point too, I mean, COVID is a little hard now because then even with your daughters, if you see that, you have a child that maybe is obviously a bit more extroverted than you, we go to dancing and get them in stuff because that would feed that creative side, or it would feed that side to be, to be out there. With COVID, though, it really is really difficult though because, like, I think, and I feel bad for our kids too because I mean, there's good and bad, but because even just to go to dance class, to perform, to do a show, all those things help for our kids that are extroverted. So it's kind of, that's why they get miserable home. Because obviously it's like, I don't want to just be here with my mom who's happy just here, which is good, what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. One thing I believe in is extracurricular activities. I'm very big on that. I believe that they're very important. So that when they were home, they do dancing. And the only person that wasn't doing dancing at the time was my youngest because she was too young. And my daughter did her music. My oldest daughter did her drumming lessons online, which was...
It still is not, you know what I mean?
It's not the same, especially considering she had to use pillows and what's not because she has no drums. And then the others, they had dancing, so they still got to see their friends, but it's still not the same.
I think socially our children too are going to be very inept, unfortunately. The little ones that come up in this, they're not going to know how to socialize.
I don't know, like
social distancing now
is
normal.
Fair enough. Like for me, one of the things that I was able to realize at a PTA meeting for my middle daughter, that I did not, like for instance, I came up, I have a brother and a sister, but I live with my mother and they are my father's children. So in a sense, I came like an only child, right? And I used to complain and be like, I'm so lonely. And I always used to tell my mother, I can't have one child. Like, if I have a child, I have to have a second one, right? Because I don't want any child to feel this loneliness, right? But then there was a meeting, and one of the parents asked, are you all going to create groups for only children to be able to interact with each other? And I was like, I never thought of that because these children keep each other occupied.
We did that in the pandemic. We did a learning pod. So there are 5 families, and we all made promises not to go anywhere, not to interact, to be careful. And then each family took a day of the week, and we would do virtual school at each house. So we rotated. So the kids were together all pandemic. It turned into drama. It was good in the beginning. The kids got sick of each other, and it was real bad. But they still had that interaction for a while. That helped.
We have to find ways to keep our kids, still engaged, which is I find it very difficult. I mean, at least in Barbados, there's some opening and it's closed back and open. So that's another thing too, because I swear my kids learn to swim because you start and you stop. So I think it's something we will have to continue to talk about in terms of how to keep our kids engaged, to keep them in activities. And I saw the difference after 2 years when my kids actually went to nursery. I see the difference. I see when they come home and they talk about friends. I can see a level of maturity. So it's important that they do get out there, because I do see how because they come home and tell stories about the aunties. So as much as we want to keep home and we are so scared, it's like you still have to balance it too, because I definitely saw, I saw that maturity then when they were
Yeah.
able to go to school.
Based on the timings, I decided not to send my youngest daughter back out to the nursery because it was like this child is going to school on this day, this child is going to school on that day,
They don't
and
have
then
that.
to me it didn't make sense paying for a full week for the baby to go to school a couple of days because once the other children were home,
Yeah.
there's no way on earth that I am leaving home to carry you anywhere. I'm sorry, as bad as that may sound.
Yeah. But yeah.
But
My little
before
one went
we,
back out. He went back out full time. I was very glad, and
Yeah,
like Nadia
full
said, you
time.
saw because he started
Mhm,
he started preschool and it was online, and he
Mm.
did not
mhm,
enjoy that. He
Of course.
interrupted, and I was like, "He is tree. What he doing on a Google Classroom talking about ABC? So I did. What are y'all talking
Yeah.
about?"
fair enough.
But
My
he did exceptionally well with the work
actual
to the point
interaction.
sometimes he was bored.
Yeah.
So I was very glad when we got him to actually go into school, and he
Mhm,
is so excited
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
yeah,
dressed and go to school, and he comes home and tells me the things that he did with his teachers, and
Yeah.
so that socialization is very, very, very important. It
yeah.
teaches him how to build
I agree.
friendships, communication,
Yeah.
Mhm,
conflict resolution, like little things like
mhm.
sharing. Like it's
Yeah.
very important
Yeah.
for them to
Mhm.
have that
I
on
find
their little level.
Yeah.
in my mind as well though. I mean she's going out to school like nursery school from September.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, because their ages, the younger two, their ages are pretty close. They're 3 years apart. They actually do a lot together. And when my middle daughter was at class, the teachers at her school were so welcoming that
Mm.
whenever my youngest daughter sat down in the class, they were like, "Hi, Maya," and they would
Mm-hmm.
allow for her, as long as she wasn't disrupting, allow for her
Disruptive.
to learn with
That's
them
good.
too, even with the PE and so on. So she had that kind of interaction. And every time she heard the teacher saying bye, she would run from whatever room she's in, "Bye, teacher."
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah. The
very interactive.
So I
Yeah.
hope that
Be-
going forward that things get better
It
because
stays.
yeah,
yeah, I think
It
I
stays.
definitely think that the children need to be able to
they
go.
need interaction.
They do.
They
I
do.
think for sure if she was an
But
only child or if there was a large gap
Yeah.
between the ages, I would have made a greater effort because she was
can I
doing
tell
pretty
you
well in
something?
university.
But do you see as
Pardon?
mom what ends up happening to us? Our conversation always turns then from us. So then we always our focus now
Children.
is children,
Yep.
not our
Yeah.
me
Fair enough.
time, balancing, looking good, whatever. You realize that it always there's nothing wrong with it, but you realize that is what
Always.
you always.
Always.
You know what I
Always.
mean? But then we forget so easily. We forget to have our own time, me time, whatever it is. And I remember you were talking about. I think you talk about proactive self-care than reactive. I think that's
Mhm.
there because regardless, this is what happens to moms. They go out for dinner and before they talk about the hair and the self and the makeup,
Yeah,
whatever,
the
you say
conversation always shifts.
children that you ask somebody to take care of. That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
There's
You know what I
there's
mean?
a fantastic question here from Matthews Grin. Do you ever feel like you don't like your children and when you are so overstimulated? I don't know. Sometimes I feel conflicted, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I might find myself feeling guilty for thinking things like, "I give me a fresh set." You understand? It's like you're all just quarreling all the time. You understand? But then I'm like, no, I can't replace these children. These belong to me. I love these too much.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess y'all could see my face
And I don't
and
think the case of not necessarily not liking, but sometimes the same thing of getting back to finding time for yourself. You're so tired. Somebody
Yeah.
said,
Mhm.
mommy.
Yeah.
We'll start. It's not even a case of not liking. It's a case that you have not. Well, and not to some cliche, you've not filled your cup. You've not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when somebody
Mhm.
coming at you, you feel drained. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's not liking. I think it's that feeling of feeling drained that you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, and you can't take nobody. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Your brain
trapped.
can't
Feel trapped.
process anything.
I have a very different view.
But mine are still two. Mine are
Sorry.
still two. They're not 16 yet. So
Listen, I I want to put him on a slow boat to China. Slow, not fast one, not an express boat, a slow one to China. Like, send me a card. I love my kids. I love my kids. But do I like them all the time? No.
No, you can't. You can't.
I don't.
Yeah.
I want to.
And sometimes
love
even
who I
things like
adore.
even things like personality traits is like, oh my gosh, where did you get this one from?
Yeah.
Y'all are
You know
not mine.
what was the
I'm quick to say y'all are not
the
my
thing for me is like
y'all are
you
not
see
mine.
you see something about your child and it's like, oh my gosh, where on earth did you get that from? And then it's like,
Your father.
Yes.
you might say that, but then sometimes you might check back and you realize
It
that
might be
child
you. Yeah.
doing the same exact thing that you would do. And it's annoying you to see it. So clearly there's something that needs to change.
Yeah.
It's
Slow
here, you
boat.
know.
Slow boat to China.
Yeah.
Send me some
Yeah.
sushi rice and some seaweed when you get there, dog. Like,
Yeah. Don't call me.
So, and I think that's where the blessing of going to school and going to work. It's like,
Yes.
it's like in a
Yeah.
relationship when they say
You
absence
need
make the
that
heart
space.
grow fonder.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with motherhood. Like, I want to see you at 2:30. I cannot tell you the joy I had when that shuttle turns up for that little boy. And I hear geek, and he's be like, get your bag. It's time to go.
It's true. We brought him up at nursery. Bye-bye. And people are getting
I
are
love
crying.
you. Have a
What
great
are you
day.
for?
All right,
You know
that's
what I found interesting? Because like I said, my middle daughter, she's like that. She has that big personality. And so there are days where, all the mixed up days, there are the days where she goes to school, the house feels so empty.
Yeah.
However, the days when the older two go to school and it's just me and my youngest daughter, I'm like, the house has never been so peaceful.
Yeah.
Like and
I like
and
empty.
I don't
I
know,
like
like
I like
it's like
empty. I
somebody
Yeah.
love
just
empty.
Good
kind
when
of like
Yeah.
I love when they're gone. I love
Yeah.
it.
I wake up
I
at
do.
4 in the morning every day because I love that quiet time so much. Like I wake up
yeah,
at
I do
4
the same
and
thing.
I get more done in those 3 hours than I do all week long if I don't wake up. It's so
Yeah.
quiet. My brain's not interrupted every 5 minutes. Like I can actually like process. It's like my favorite time of the day. I love
What
it.
do
Me
you
too.
all do to
The
find
same
peace?
thing.
Because you were saying you wake up at 4. What do you all do to
Yeah.
find that minute for yourself?
For me, like I do similar to like for mine is not about productivity. I am a journaler. I like to journal, like do the affirmations, meditations, prayer, whatever. But I can't seem to concentrate on it once I hear the first set of feet hit the floor and start to move. My brain goes, oh, here it
Yeah.
starts.
I
Understand?
don't even
So
try.
like
Listen,
I have
it's
to get
take
up
3 alarms
super
to get me
early.
out of bed. Like I
I get
child,
super early and I'm like, okay, look, this is
meditation.
my time for my mental space. Because if I don't have that, then I'm all over the place. Like I can't concentrate on
Yeah.
anything.
For me,
So,
I miss my dance classes. I used to teach
yeah.
fitness bunnies. I used to teach Zumba
Um,
classes. And when I realized, my first moment I realized kids change your life is when the doctor said you can no longer teach anymore. And I cry and I cry and I cry. And I cried and I cried and I cried. But for
Why
me,
did doctor tell you so?
I
because
know.
obviously with a twin, it's a high risk pregnancy. So
Oh, okay. Sure.
Oh,
I have to, thing. But for me, what I miss though, I miss going to a dance class. I mean,
Mhm.
it's trying to find the time, to get there. But that brings me my peace. So when I can't do that, sometimes at night I go to sleep. I go by the car, turn on music, and just. I mean, the neighbors might think you're mad, but you just dance. You dance for
yeah.
that 10, 20 minutes, half an hour. It's a little exercise and it's a little moment just to breathe.
Yeah.
And for me, I go
Re-energize.
just a little place for myself, just in that 10, 15, 20 minutes. Turn on. It could be whoever. It could be Michelle Mole, whoever, and you just party with yourself. And I find that kind of reminds me of me, and it also, it brings that little level of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dance is life. It really is.
What do I do for myself? I hear y'all saying y'all do all these things, but like I have coffee. Like I get up. I try to get up before my little Tasmanian devil and have 2 minutes of peace. Literally 2 minutes of peace.
Yeah.
If I'm not going into the office for my 9 to 5, I am, putting on the coffee pot and just moving without the anxiety of having to figure out what he needs or what anybody else needs. Just me in the 20 minutes before they realize, oh, mommy up. Let me wake up too, you know.
I had a challenge. I had a challenge when my youngest daughter was a little younger. For some reason, this child would always know when I move. You know, so like, as soon as
they do.
I guess,
Somebody talk about doing your skincare at night.
That's my sister. Yeah, she's right. I took time. Again, I went through. I think we all did a thing of. It's a pandemic. Nobody. Yes. But then it was like I lived through a pandemic, ash and hurricanes. We can gather the skin. We are going to live our best life. We are going to glow. We are not going to look like our struggles.
Our breakouts. I never used to get breakouts. And the pandemic.
Stress.
Like, oh, you're barely washing your face. You're barely.
You would cry in the shower about 12 o'clock because you tell yourself, Rhasheda, you should shower. Go shower. We will not lose our hygiene in the name of COVID. Go and shower because in your mind it's like there is nobody here. Why am I getting fancy? There was a point when I go through head tie seasons. I go through seasons where I tie up my head a lot, right? And the other day I was at home. And you know, as an entrepreneur, they're telling you, with Instagram, you need to do videos more. You gotta show your face more. Blah 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 blah. And I looked at myself and I was like, girl.
Yes.
Honey. Let me just snatch this together. This is not you. You cannot be any people's stories looking like you. What? No. So I had to go dig in my drawer and pull out my cloths and start to tie my head and just like throw on a little eyebrow, just a little eyebrow maybe.
Don't look real comfortable.
And you get a little too comfortable, and it goes back to being mothers. And I worked with a young lady that her one favorite line was, I don't have time. My nails are my thing. I do my nails, I do my feet. That's mine, and I will not give it up. And ever so often I was sprinkling, like I go for a massage. If the crane doing a special in the summer, I'd go and I would get a massage. If I want to go, when things were, not in COVID, if I want to go have dinner by myself, I would go have dinner by myself, because I believe you need that as a woman, as a mother too. You just need that time. And she would always say, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. What do you have? You and I have the same 24 hours. So what are you making time for?
Right.
Real hard times to find, like, sometimes
to make the time.
I don't know where to get the time from. The kids wake up at 5, then they want 5 to go to sleep. So it's hard to find that. But then I look at it, there's going to be a point your kids get older and your kids are going to have a life. And then you will be where you will have absolutely nothing.
60 years old with bodies and wrinkles and not looking our best self. So we're going to make the time for the vitamin C, the retinol, and the hyaluronic acid. And we're going to gather our skin and we are going to have a glass of wine. And I think it goes down to the inability sometimes as mothers to say no. No is a complete sentence.
Create structure.
To create structure.
Sometimes there's that difficulty in creating necessary structure. Because what I found is when I start to create more structure, things become actually more flexible. And it speaks to, like, for instance, I started to realize that sometimes we use the children as an excuse to not be our best self. Right? So it's like, oh my gosh, I got children, I can't do this. This time last year, I'd be like, I can't do these lives, or I can't, find the time to do anything business or anything new. But then what hit me one morning, and that was actually pretty recently, is like 15 minutes is 1% of your day. Why can't I take 1% of my day to do something for me?
Time, people around you then will start to say, okay, well, this is your 15 minutes, so you know. And even back in the
Exactly.
year, remember, grandparents did that. My grandmother at 6 o'clock, days of our life. That was
Don't talk to me.
don't talk. 6 o'clock, my nana ain't talking to you no more. So I think, and it's real hard to do it, but it's like if we need to be like you see this 10 minutes, this 15 minutes, somebody else to deal. This is my. So I think what you said is true. Sometimes being able to say no,
No.
being able to walk
And
away.
not no because just no. Full stop. No
Yeah.
is a complete
Yeah.
sentence. Like
Yeah.
no, and unapologetically stand in your no. You
It
know,
is
like,
okay for you to go to the gym for an hour. It's
It
okay
is.
for you to do this. So we think it's not okay, and then we don't want to ask anybody, and you feel guilty, and you feel like it's such a
Yeah.
pressure.
Because
But
it's like, oh,
it,
well, I bring the
I
children
deserve
by person, you
they're
know.
nobody
So
else's burden. They're
yeah,
mine.
exactly. All that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You guys, I have to run. I have to go pick up food for everybody. It was so good to meet you guys and so good to chat with you guys.
It was great having you too.
Thank you.
I
Good to
hope we
chat
can
with
do this
you.
again though,
Travel
because this
safe.
is
Yeah,
really,
definitely.
really good.
It was great.
So, all right, so we'll see you next. Well, whenever next we decide to do this.
Yes, totally.
More often.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
And that's being a mother too. Like your time is not your time.
It's not
Like,
yours.
it
She's in the
really
middle of a
isn't.
life talking, and then it's like, okay, gotta go get food. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
that's just the way. That's just the way it is. Sometimes you just gotta.
Responsibility. Somebody's saying that we say this UK beige, we say no to ourselves, but yes to our children's needs.
Yeah.
Um, at one point I was there like, oh my gosh, I have my young daughter. I can't do any work while she's home. And that's when I was like, I need to get her into a nursery. And I
Yeah.
found myself like forcing myself to make sure that she was in a nursery and you know, stretching the budget to make sure I pay the nursery and what's not to get her there. And then I think it was the second lockdown that came.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you know what? Let me see what would happen if I just relax. Like if she comes to the camera while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
What
Don't
happened?
What happened?
you know, she sat down there and when I'm in meetings and people are like, oh my gosh, hi sweetie. You know?
And that's a
And
good word you use to relax. Like sometimes you are so panicked and nobody else is as panicked as you. And that's what
yeah.
even like daddies are like, oh my goodness, just relax. And we are obviously you're like, what you mean? But
Yeah.
we have all this panic, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do that. And the child just like, all right, you know what I mean? Like Sundays we need to relax. And I think that's one thing the pandemic maybe taught some of us, or that anxiety and all the crazy, it does nothing to us but raise your blood pressure. You sick,
Yeah.
you look bad, may you put on weight, you know, or lose weight, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's okay to just, you know, just chill. It's all right.
It'll work itself out.
Yeah.
Lynn,
It'll work.
yeah. I agree. Because even then I found once she felt that I was cool with it and she sat down for a little while, normally after like 5 minutes she would just hop down off me and it's like I had my time with mommy and now I'm gone.
Yeah.
You know, mommy can continue her meeting in peace. And there it was. I'm here freaking out over this, but the child really isn't as much of a challenge as I thought.
We're the ones that put all of that unnecessary pressure on ourselves, you know. It's really us that's put the pressure on ourselves. But what I live by is that they don't stay small forever. They really do not. They don't. And
because at 240 training, you know, it feel like forever, right?
It feels like forever. Certain stages will feel like forever.
Yeah.
And I can say that it took me 12 years before I got pregnant again. And I sat the other day and I was like, I have a 16-year-old son that I remember when I had him, his first day of preschool. Like, and at those stages of my life, I was freaking out like, ugh. Like, when is this gonna end? Like, he's peeing everywhere except the bloody toilet. He's not talking. Oh my! Then they go through the awkward stage. Like, he lost his front teeth and don't want to smile. Like, now he's 16. Like that. So I live by they don't stay small forever. So that's why we can't afford to lose ourselves because, like you said, they will get older. They will move on. They will have their lives. Where does that leave us?
Yeah.
Where does that leave us? Like, no, I still need to be, you know, fabulous and cute.
I would like
when I put up the post the other day related to Nairobi's birthday, a lady messaged me and told me, enjoy these years. She actually just asked me, her youngest just left for college and now she's an empty nester and she doesn't know what
To do with herself.
to do with herself,
I'm telling you, so I can't wait. Look,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Having
I love.
your
I think
girlfriends
that,
too
and again, as like
are
another
important.
transition into
Yeah.
another stage of womanhood now, where you are not identified by your motherhood.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that
Your
we
womanhood
wanna
isn't
do.
validated by the fact that you have children.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're a mom. I'm more than a mom.
Yeah.
It's a great honor, a great privilege, but I'm more than a mother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as they get older now, you put enough and they go there and they can live their lives now. Now you have to transition into that next stage of womanhood to
Based on what you're
explore and live.
I think that what you're saying is actually very, very important because one of the things we might do as mothers is we might, quote unquote, become a shell of our former selves.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about losing yourself, but then how is that teaching our children how to balance the responsibilities of life and who they are as people, right?
So, or what do your daughters see from you? What do
Correct.
my
Correct.
So when they look at future girlfriends and different, like,
Correct.
there's always look pop down in the house, and no, that's not what we want to portray at all. So that is very important, that we still need to kind of maintain some sort of life, because at the end of the day, you know, yes, they get older, and plus we want to be a representation for them of somebody that's a happy life, genuinely happy, a positive life, reaching goals. Because if mommy happy and mommy's reaching goals, they're happier.
Correct.
You know, we think that if, and you know, like when somebody says put on your oxygen mask first, none of us do that. None of us.
It's like, oh my gosh, let's deal with the children first.
Yeah.
Lanique is asking, how do we maintain our female friendships now that we're moms? I think, honestly, there are a lot of friendships that kind of fade to black over time when you get very busy being a mother, especially if the person, I would say, especially if the person doesn't have children. But I think sometimes it also takes making that greater effort, like especially during the and then there's some friendships that you can not be in contact with somebody for quite a while,
still be good.
and then when you hear them, it's almost like you never
Not spoke to them.
I want to follow mummies too. You're not fun to go with either if all you sit down and do is talk about your nipples and breastfeeding. I'm going to be real. That you have friends who doesn't have kids, or you want to bring your child to every event. Is it a child event or not? Or are they just the girls having a drink? We need to realize that yes, we have kids. Your friends love their kids, but that does not mean when we go down to have a drink that all you talking about is, and you know the baby just had a big stool. Nobody wants to hear that all the time. So
We're not interested.
No, you gotta call out. I think some mothers, you gotta call out yourself too and say, look, you know, sometimes I think, well, because she doesn't have kids, or because the person has no problem talking or asking who your child is, but they don't want to hear if your child spits all the time. It is really annoying. Or your child is, my son is so intelligent. You know what he did today? He said 1, 2, and 3. Happy for you.
You know,
others too. We they have to work on keeping your friendships, but they don't want to hear about your kids every single minute. You want to have a drink and just chill.
And not only that, I think we also need to be very conscious of other people. There are people out there who cannot have children. You know,
True. Can't push it down their throat.
It's kind of like you're rubbing it in their face because you're talking about yours all the time, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Some people might be struggling with infertility, may have had a miscarriage. You don't know.
Just don't want children. I mean,
they don't want children.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, these are things that we tend to sometimes easily forget, but these are important things. Niska is saying, I remember this older lady said to me when I got pregnant that I'm now a woman. She had me beat. I had to tell her I was always a woman. Motherhood doesn't validate my femininity. So I can really agree with that, because sometimes the things people tell you, and it's something we spoke about a little earlier, it's like, seriously though.
I've heard mommy judgment. Mommy judgment.
Because you know have a child. Like, are you those things that we've made
married
or whatever? like I don't even know where that came from, but you know what I mean. So no, I'm a mother. So no, I am deemed to be special. You know what I mean? Yes, you are. You have kids, great, but when we do that, we are taking so much for other women. You know, other aunties, everybody out there supports our own kids. You know, like I think we need to leave out, and that's the same thing we talked about judgment. Just stop it.
It's a mommy judgment.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
stop
it's tough. I mean, I think and again, we have to call out mummies who let go of their femininity.
Yes.
Who let themselves go in the name of motherhood.
Yeah.
No.
Because no, my mommy, I can't wear short pants. No, my mommy, I can't do this. I like to go with my friends and dress nice, you know, yes, you are a mummy, but that does not mean that you no need to look, quote unquote, what people consider looking like a mummy is. If you want to go to the beach and have on your thong swimsuit, wear it.
But what does looking like a mummy mean?
Look like apparently it's you know, nice. So people
that's a style.
You look good for
I even you Niska, I am a Rhasheda. I don't understand, like, and again, the validation from having children is cruel to me. Because there are some people who have children and have no connection with those children.
True.
And they just had them out of obligation because I get pregnant and this is what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right? And unfortunately, those children have to come out of a situation that is not the healthiest, that is trauma building. And that's a whole other story that is another time. But there are women who you should never validate a woman by her passing a child through. You cannot tell me that I am more than because I have a child. There are some women out there that are not mothers. They just have children. It's very different.
So when I look up in my life, some of my aunts don't have kids, but to me, they're the greatest role models you can ever want. So to me, we need to leave that. Oh, I also have another question for y'all because we have boy moms and girl moms here, and I just wanted to know because we always in raising boys and raising girls, and we you know, people always say, you know, you allow boys to get away with certain things because they're boys, and you know, even cleaning up, whatever it is. What do you think the difference is, or what legacy do we want to leave? You know, what type of boys or girls, you know, we want to raise? Because we do know that a girl will be taught you better clean up, and a boy will get away with certain things. You know, you get where I'm coming from. Like, how are we navigating boy mom, girl mom, or does it even matter?
I don't know. I have girls, but I don't feel like it matters. Like I've met women who make sure that their sons know how to cook, know how to keep a house. You understand? Because their thinking is, okay, number one, if you don't have a woman, you should be able to function on your own. Right? It might not be the best reasoning, you know, because
mine worse than that. Trust me when I tell you, I just don't want my sons to turn out like some of the men that I date. And I can say, I'm sorry. I'm gonna say, we coddle our boys and pressure our girls.
Correct.
Yeah,
that is true.
You should hold children, regardless of gender, to a certain standard. My sons will know how to cook, clean, put up a hem, put on a button, clean a bathroom. Because at the end of the day, there are no gender roles. Sorry, I want to know I got a filter. I try, but I do not. And there are some. I do not want my boys to go into this world entitled, thinking that women are supposed to do things for them, and they can only get things done when they have a woman. No, you will take care of yourself. You will. I also believe, though, that men are important in boys and girls' lives.
Yes,
men are very important. I cannot raise a man. I cannot make him a man. I can raise him well. I can give him the foundations. I cannot make him a man. And I am not that mother. I'm a single mother and I don't have any qualms with it. I raise my boys alone, 100%. But I am a woman. come down to genitalia and me and them go the same thing. I don't know how to tell you how to deal with that, fam.
Because
I
sometimes
would
we
try my best.
discount the importance of men in raising kids, and I mean, to have this conversation and not talk about that, you know what I mean? Like sometimes we act like if, you know, it is just us, and as we do have boys as well, you know, and even for sure for girls too, because it shapes how you see relationships and it shapes how you
that's
see
the first relationship. That's their first love. That's their first masculine love. And
kids are very
that
excited
is
about
that,
daddy.
that in
Mommy
itself.
could all the work all day, but when a child see a daddy is woo, you know, is, you know, and they do have a role to play.
They have a huge role to play, and I know that they are. And I stand strong by all those single mothers who have raised amazing boys and girls who've raised kids. But there is a place for masculine energy in a child's life. Point blank, period. And I am not that mother that's going to say, oh, I'm a strong Black woman and I raise kings. Yeah, but I sure as hell wished that there was some masculine energy in this crank to get y'all, and y'all testosterone can go that way. And me and my little estrogen could stay over here in my red wine, please and thanks. But now I have to, like, sometimes I have to wear the testosterone because I have a 16-year-old who is taller than me and is one test that his mother will not go to prison. So I've got to be like, yo.
And the thing is, as much as you tell them what to do, not seeing that male role model is still difficult, because they model, because even with my twin, there are only two. But if daddy says, you know, daddy does pong 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 or whatever it is, they want to do what daddy does. So not having that male role there as well, regardless of how much
that energy,
it is still it still causes,
it's necessary. It is so important. They need it. They need it. They need to see it. They need to see their mothers being loved properly too.
Functional relationships are functional children ain't stupid either. Children know when they're pretending or not pretending. They need to see functional relationships as well. You could tell a child, don't say this, don't do this, don't, even if you tell a child, don't treat women bad, don't curse women, don't do this, and your child,
they have not seen an example of the one woman in their life being treated well, being loved, being loved without toxicity, being just loved. God, all kids need to see their parentals and vice versa. They need to see you as a woman. And this is a touchy word. Submit to that partner and that love.
Fine too.
You understand? And that and they need to see their fathers being loved by their mothers, and their mothers being protected and loved viciously,
and even if they're
by
not,
their fathers,
if they're not together, we have this thing if you any person ain't green, if you any person done the child, you know, is war, you know, is like, I ain't got nothing to say to you, I only dealing with my child. Like, we need to stop that, because at the end of the day, if a mom is not good, if a mom is not good, nobody else is good in that house. So we need to, I think relationships need to really, we need to put more effort or more work in relationships, because at the end of the day, what our children see, that is what they're going to go to the world with.
That's what they're going to emulate. That's what they're going to be.
They don't have to be together, but you need to show that mother respect the same way that mother needs to show that father respect, you know, as well. We need, and we got to talk about these things, because we have a lot of dysfunctional relationships that only look pretty on Instagram. And the children, it is true. And the children will be representations of those bad relationships. So let's start treating each other properly.
And you got children too,
with respect.
That get caught in the middle, and there's some parents who use children as like weapons and bartering tools. Like, yo, like, I'm gonna lay down, man, that baby, it wasn't so bad. Get there. Get back there, man. Y'all was romping and making that child. Y'all loved each other.
Because
and then it go left.
And I have,
but it comes back down to
and
the inability as us as adults to communicate. We do not know how to actively listen to hear and understand. We listen to respond. First things first. So the father might be saying to the mother, but you know, I really don't. You ain't here.
Yeah.
What is
Call
man
out
say
to
properly?
you're right. We don't listen to them either. As soon as they
You
say,
understand?
yeah, we're not, we, as much as we call them out too, and they need calling out sometimes, sometimes we are not communicating. We, you know, we're not saying how we feel. So instead of saying to him, look, I don't like when you don't do this or do this, we vex. We just say, we ain't talking. I gotta do everything myself. I gotta cook, I gotta clean, I gotta do, but you never said, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do that.
Communication that somebody could read your mind. You know, this is what I want. I expect you to know
And
that this is what I want.
you vex for we know.
How could you not know that this is what I needed and what I
I
wanted?
I
am
Can't you
guilty.
see my eyes?
Mhm.
No. You
I
got
be
to
like,
do your
you see
own
that
life.
I working a whole day. You cannot just come and cook. Like,
Yes,
sir, instead of just saying, you know, like, babes, I am tired or I've had a long day. Would you mind? And again, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
And that example is what you have to show your children. But I feel that we were also raised to, as I was saying earlier, we cuddle our sons and allow our sons to get rid of a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, boy.
And the girls, we ready to put them outside at 18 years old.
Yeah, the same way two people have had a child. But the expectation, obviously we know as mothers, we will take on the brunt of a lot of the work. But the expectation is because of how, you know, some males, not all, some are raised, is like,
correct,
women do this. Or
that your job. I deal with the grass and the garbage.
Yeah.
You deal with the cleaning and the cooking.
And the children.
Then I pack my bags for 2 days and turn off my phone. Well, I hope you eat and your house is clean, but hopefully it never comes down to that in a relationship. Because I also feel like a lot of relationships would be different had things just been said properly. Had conversations just been had properly.
And I think, you know what I think is a big problem in terms of some relationships is most of the time people don't speak about these things before they actually get into these situations.
They say, oh shoot, what do you think? How do you want to raise a child? You know, like sometimes they don't want to.
I always remember when it was about probably 18, 19, there was this guy I was talking to. And I used to observe how his little brother, who was probably like 7 or 8 at the time, all 10 o'clock in the night, this little boy still up. No, I ain't come up like this. I had a bad time. And it certainly was not 10 o'clock. You get where I'm coming from. So I was like, I made this comment one day. I was like, you, when they get children, right? Bedtime is like 7:38 though. This whole 10 o'clock thing, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and my children are still up. Sorry. And he was like, oh, my children could go sleep whenever. And I was like, this is the end of our relationship.
Right there.
Like that, in that moment, I just knew what was here. No.
Right there. We don't have those conversations.
We need to be on the same page too, because in discipline and anything, and as I said, even if you are together, not together, if you're on the same page, those children are going to be stronger kids because they know that daddy, my mommy and daddy, you know, I can't do this, I can't do that. If you know what I mean, if we are working together, and which is one, it is a difficult thing to do, but if you're working together, it is just better for the children, and we are, and that's just what it is. So
unfortunately, sometimes people are selfish and they're still in their feelings. So that's why they operate the way they are. Their feelings are hurt and they don't tell themselves, well, me operating from a hurt place is hurting my children because I am incapable, because I still in my feelings, because he probably, there's a cheating situation, it's a breakup situation, it's a whatever situation, and you are in your feelings. But sometimes, unfortunately, you may call it being savage, but you have to remove your feelings and logically look at the situation. I have to co-parent with this man until my child is at least 21 years old. You understand? Yes, I do not. I doesn't like him. Okay. But I have a tiny human that is part me and part him. It has to. We have to figure it out. I don't need to talk to you every day. I don't need to know where you're going on vacation. I don't care. But when it comes to our child, we have to be able to co-parent and communicate effectively and efficiently in the name of our kid. Like,
and if you not only that, like for instance, one of the one of the things that I always say, like, I aim not to block my children's blessings, right? And I feel like if I go with that aim, then I'm in a better position to at least be more receptive when, their fathers say, hey, I want to do this with my child. And my automatic response isn't going to be, nah, right? It's like, okay, well, this opportunity has arisen for my child to be able to spend time with her father.
Yeah.
Let me see how it goes, and go from there. But there also needs to be boundaries, like for instance, situations like parents communicating, parents communicating with their child and making arrangements with the child without speaking to the other adult first. That can
But that's
happen,
communication. Well, again.
Yeah, at that point, I would operate like I would use my mother as an example. I always remember when I was younger and I wanted to go. Remember when QC fairs were like
Yeah, we're
eight,
big.
right? And I put down my report was on good. And I get ready for this fair. And my mother, I think, if I remember correctly, my mother drive me past the fair and tell me you can't go to this fair. You understand? You can't go to this store because your report was not X, Y,
Right.
Z. But she made me allowed me to get ready with the full excitement. I know I'm going with my friends for this year and X, Y, Z. I kind of have that vibe as well in terms of if you make arrangements with my child without telling me you could come here, but my child can't leave this house unless you have a conversation with me.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe. So it's like being able to set the necessary boundaries to say, okay, look, we need to have a respectful relationship. If the child had lived with you, I would not expect to just turn up and remove the child from your household without communicating with you. I expect the same,
It's just
the same
respect.
formality.
It's just a level of respect from both persons to make it work. That's
Yeah,
what even living together, not living together, broken up. If we all just have a level of respect, it's not always going to be perfect because obviously we're two different people still, but just a respect and not missing the goal. The goal is to have kids that are stable, that are productive people, and that don't have all these mental issues. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to keep. The problem is that we don't keep the goal. Because even my kids get so excited. Is when everybody, we all go together. You could just go to just go to the boardwalk, and they're excited. Kids even if you're, kids just want to know that they feel safe. So
correct.
I think that
and be able to.
My phone's sticking.
Sorry, somebody's stuck.
Probably Nadia.
Nadia, you can hear us?
There you go.
My phone's sticking.
Yeah, you were stuck just now.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
There's so many different topics that as women, you jump from one thing to the next, and they're all intertwined and they're all connected. And it's so important. But it only shows, and we all know that men have their issues too, but it only shows the amount of weight and things that as women we have to deal with. So it's either you have to be exceptionally skilled at compartmentalizing in your brain where each thing goes, and it's like a computer with 22 million tabs open. I swear in my brain I have 16, almost 20 tabs open. The budget, the supermarket, dealing with the children, preparing for summer back to school, how I know this thing, that thing. There's so we never get a break. I would never forget. I think during the pandemic too, I was like, okay, Rhasheda, maybe we need to try meditation and yoga.
Yes.
I get up early,
Yeah.
have my little mat, gone outside 4:30, the air crisp, the chickens ready to and I'm ready to be in one with nature. I close my eyes. I kid you not. And I can hear my brain saying, Rhasheda, you upon the coffee pot? Rhasheda, you send that email? Oh, shoot, you clock out from work? Rhasheda, will you go put the children clothes in the machine? Wait, will you want to clean the house? Oh, shoot, this worth it. As all I try to quiet my mind. My mind, it went from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next.
Music.
Yes, I had the Enya. I wouldn't remember Enya from back in the day, the massage music, and she playing in the background.
And I had a chime at the time, so the chime blowing, and it made perfect ambiance and all this brain. And I would not shut up. And I'm like, I'm trying, trying to meditate here. Could you all
It's
just stop
something that
talking to one another?
you have to do it multiple times. I remember the first time or the first couple of times I tried meditating, I was like, this is a waste of time.
Listen to
My
me.
brain was not
Tamara, you
shut
get it
up.
done. It works for you.
Yeah, I get it done. Because I was consistent, it was like, all right, at some point I gotta get my brain to shut up.
The first 3 times I was dedicated. I treat 3 mornings. I said, this ain't beating me. This is not beating me.
You're already fighting with it, Rhasheda.
I'm fighting with it, right? I telling it like I gonna beat you. This I got to quiet my brain. Quiet my brain, what? I swear.
No, I think the aim is not to quiet the brain, it's really to just let the thoughts just pass through your mind. So as much thoughts as pass through your mind, eventually it will start to slow down. Eventually.
Not mine.
But
Mine pun Red Bull and something in here like
Okay, ladies.
like
Rhasheda, we are going to try again. Let's make a part of Chamara. We are going to try to meditate again. So we are going to try, okay? Next week, we are going to get up.
I will try.
Our music. And
we will try
to quiet our minds. So I am trying.
Vegan.
Okay?
I'm going to try too. I can try again. I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to let it. I'm going to let it. So Chamara, you said to just let it happen.
Just let the thoughts flow. And don't I think the hardest part, this is my experience. The hardest part is when the thought comes, oh shoot, you wash the clothes. Don't engage the thought. Just let it pass by.
No, that's the problem.
Right. So that's the hardest part.
That's the problem there.
And then you start planning, when I get up.
Like when I get up from here, I'm gonna put these other clothes in the machine and and
so don't interact
I feel like
crazy people in your head. So there's
16 voices.
Leave them alone. Crazy. Just let them pass by.
I shall try.
My voice is real determined. I could tell one of them even just shut up. So, but I think meditation. I think that is important. Like the ability to pause.
Mm-hmm.
I think also we've been programmed to that we must always be like, and the minute that you stop, it's like you're procrastinating or you're lazy or you ain't got nothing to do, or I do not need to be going 12 hours a day. I don't need that. I need
to lay down for a minute, or you go to get a little nap or something. You actually feel bad. You oh gosh, I should be doing something. I should be doing this just to get a 10-minute nap.
A nap. You judge yourself for taking a nap or taking too long of a shower. Oh, I remember when I used to speed race in the bath. It was like, I can't leave the baby. I can't leave the baby. My mom lives with me. Like he is in capable hands. Yeah. But to actively pause and say, it can wait. They can wait. I can have 10 minutes for myself. I can take my time and drink my coffee. I remember there was a point in time I ate so quickly.
Yeah.
I ate so quickly because I was not connecting with the food. I was just literally telling myself, I got 20 minutes to inhale this food. Let me inhale it now and just go.
I just wouldn't even.
You wouldn't even eat. You cannot identify the taste in your mouth as to what you just ate. You scoff down the food because you know you have to eat. Yeah. If you don't eat, you're gonna be full of gas and you're gonna feel bad. So let me just eat to make sure that I don't gotta deal with that added thing to everything else that I'm dealing with. So that's just the thing of pausing to chew 20 times and enjoy your steak or enjoy your shrimp or to take 10 minutes to do skincare.
Yeah.
Put on your serums and do your moisturizers and pausing.
On this life, especially when you have newborns, you really feel like that. You really feel like
you
cannot stop a minute that these little people, oh my goodness, just gotta keep them alive.
Yep.
And not knowing, obviously, you had your first, having first 2. Now you realize, you know what? They're okay. They're stronger than we think.
Yep.
Every time
that's it.
Yeah, I think with first kids, and being a twin, you are so like, oh my god, okay, what's happening?
It's 2 of them. It's 2 of them. And when one cry, is ready to pull out your hair. Imagine when one start and the next one start. I literally internally cringe. Tomorrow used to have a friend with 2 sets of twins. I'm sorry. I
No,
only
but
have
I
No,
think the
twins.
hardest part to me when you have
A whole
twins is when,
separate holiday. Okay, we need a
no
whole separate
boy.
holiday for ourselves.
wait, I feel like the hardest part of having twins is when the two children are not on the same timeline.
I don't understand.
Because if you got one, one I
They
know gonna
never do
sleep, and
that.
as soon as this one gonna sleep, the
Yeah,
next one
yeah.
get up is like, yeah.
And I think for women, again, forming groups, I remember for me, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to talk to other twin moms because I really didn't know what I was doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I found we don't have a lot of, I mean, I know seeing groups coming up and people
Yeah.
have, you know, I know seeing groups coming up and stuff, but I remember for me, it was like, oh my goodness, they're sending home two of these children with me? Like,
Them
I'm
sure?
terrified, yeah.
It's hard.
Sometimes even
Yep.
when you talk to other moms and they say, well, you know, try to keep them on the same schedule or do, and I think just talking about your fears or talking about the difficulties of it really helps, you know. And I think that we need to form more groups. It could be, you know, motherhood, twin, triplets, whatever, because we have some of the same issues, but then we have some
Mm-hmm.
little differences that we can help each
Yeah.
other. And I think that would have helped a lot because there are a lot of twin moms now who call me. And I ain't an expert, but I would say, listen, I can say that from my experience, there's what you did and there's what worked, you know?
They're
And
still living. They're still breathing. Bless
yeah.
the Lord.
And I
Bless
think
the
Yeah.
Lord. They're still alive.
exactly. And I think if we keep
Yeah.
sharing and not just holding it all and we keep sharing and saying, look, for me, this was difficult. Newborn twins was difficult. Thank God I had help, but this is what I did. Or this is what you could do to make your life easier. Because a lot of times we will say something and your parents or somebody will say, wait, forget all about that's happened, you know? Because obviously we gotta keep talking. We gotta keep talking and saying, you know, I didn't even know, like, even when I got pregnant, you know, afterwards it told me like dark or whatever. I
Yeah.
was, what color this is? You know, like, even something
Yeah.
as simple as telling a
At
friend
that,
hey, don't worry. And I see
Mm-hmm.
it'll come back.
good
Yeah.
stuff too about, you know, taking a while even for that belly to go down. You assume
Yep.
that's got the child,
No,
you know.
please.
And I just
No,
think
no.
we need to form more groups. We need to talk more, and we need to share our experiences so that you don't
Yeah.
feel alone in whatever
But
you're going through.
I think being a mother,
unfortunately, and I don't have female friends. I
Okay.
do not do well with women.
Yeah. But
I
even
don't
right
know.
here, no. You don't
But
even
even right, yeah,
that's the thing. You don't have to be. You see, the problem is that people think you need to be best friends. I need to be by
right,
your house every Sunday for lunch. No. Sometimes
correct.
it's just a case of me messaging, look, Chamara trying to do this meditation here, and I can, and she, you know, just
Struggling.
simple little things. Sometimes I think as
Yeah.
women, we think that we need to talk to the person every single day and eat breakfast with them. No, we have our own personal friends for that. But I think as moms too, just to even be able to say, hey, you know, this ain't working out for me. What you think? And we should be able to share these
But
experiences. Right
what you
now,
think?
that's what we're doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me break up this for a moment because you had a few tips from before. Tanisha said a couple of things and another lady also. So she said, in terms of meditation, let the thoughts come and don't let the volume of the thoughts bother you. And
Mm-hmm.
thoughts are equal to floating clouds, as woo as that sounds. And
Mm.
then Matthews Grimm says, during meditation, you don't expect your liver to shut off or your heart to stop. So don't expect your brain to stop either.
Who
It's
else
just
said? Okay.
observe the thoughts and do not engage with them. Right?
Okay.
And your sister said she had to
Mm-hmm.
learn how to slow down. So it very maybe a word was saying, and so it is very well now. She was off today and she did nothing.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Mom
Two.
Hazel says with a small baby, you can't even get to taste food. You know, you don't
Yeah.
know if it tastes good or bad or poisonous. So
Yeah.
it's,
You scoff
I
the
think
food.
I think sometimes
Another
as a mother when you have a baby, I think motherhood has the tendency to be one of the most traumatizing experiences you could possibly ever have.
I don't
And
really have.
yet
Yeah.
the most rewarding experience. I remember when my youngest daughter was like 11 days old. I always remember this vividly because I am so blessed that she's still here. So she's in the bedroom, and I remember her father, he stayed home from work as well, right? So I think he got like a couple of weeks off, and obviously
Mhm.
had my 2 months. And we went down to the back. We left her sleeping on the bed. We went down to the back. And I think we had kittens or puppies or something so at the time, and something happened with one of them, and we went to deal with that. And then a fight broke out outside of our house with some little boys coming home from school. So he went outside trying to part the little boys. And somebody just told me, go and check on the child. And when I got into the child face blue, she was in there choking on her own spit. Like her blood started to freak out, you know, like.
Yeah.
And luckily, because he was home, he like just literally came, snatched her from my hand, and
I find
give her.
I'm really good at in those situations though. I
Yeah.
find honestly, I've realized that too. When I panicking and their dad will come and be like, all right, you know, the child, something happening. I find men are good, very good in those situations when we go.
Yeah, we carry them though. We carry them. So there's a different connection for us than for them. For them is like, this child needs to live. For us is like, oh my God, the child is dead kind of situation.
Full panic mode.
We think we can do everything, that nothing will ever, this child will never fall off the bed, this child ain't gonna never choke, this child ain't gonna never do this.
Listen.
And when something like that happen, we like, oh my goodness, because we're obviously trying to protect them.
Yeah.
Things happen, you know, it's just showing you you're doing the job you can, things will
Correct.
Yeah, correct. Just afraid to come back from them.
Yeah.
I think from your point, Nadia, I was saying that the vulnerability of opening up to other women, when you said that you think that there needs to be more groups and forums and stuff for women to talk about when they want help. I think we are so programmed to not ask for help, to not say anything, to not look vulnerable, because again, as you're a woman now, you had a kid, so suck it up, buttercup, and deal with it. You know what I mean? Instead of, I need help, I feel like crying all the time, I cannot deal with a child crying in my ears another hour, I don't know, like, I just take the child away from me. I just want my body for myself. There are women who struggle with breastfeeding.
I hated it.
Struggle with breastfeeding because they just like, these are mighty, like, let them go.
Too, because they're thinking, holy, I see on TV that, I thought music is come on. And,
it's the hardest. Like, it's one of the hardest things.
Yeah, and the child will just latch and we will have, no.
If you got small nipples, if that child don't latch, and then you got it too full, like, I didn't have challenges breastfeeding. I just was tired of a child attached to my chest all the time. Like,
if you said it, then there are people like, you know, best breastfeeding is the best, and you know this is the best, and fine.
So those babies that are in the hospital that have to come on formula, that nothing happened to them, what happened?
Yeah, and okay. Everybody has to, you know, it's going to be different for everybody. So breastfeeding, pray, or whatever you are going to do, that is a decision you have to make for your sanity as well. Because there's a point I knew, and it was real clear, that after 3 months, we weren't going to do this anymore. We weren't. We're not. I was if you want to do it at 4 years old, that's fine too. I think we need to accept that.
It's true.
What worked for you and your
ain't gonna work for me. I was a breastfeeding breast pump queen. They had a freezer full of milk. Yes. I had a little breast pump bag for work, and I used to go in a little room at work, and
when I saw it, I would want to cry. When I saw anything to do with breastfeeding, I'm like, oh my goodness, we doing this. And then at one point, I was like, this ain't bringing me down no more. The whole notion of this bringing me down, I am not skinny. This has to end, sweet boy. You have teeth, and this nipple here is not your true toy. It's time for you to eat a piece of potato. This is not, this ain't cutting for me.
The story that you can have.
What works for you and your
correct.
Yeah, definitely.
You have to keep your sanity in it, because if you ain't right, the child that ain't gonna work. And stop trying to tell somebody, you know, you're supposed to do it this way, you're supposed to do it that. No, you're not. No.
Do what works for you.
Yeah.
I remember
for you.
I had completely different experiences. Like, I enjoyed breastfeeding. That's one of the things I really did. It kind of like, for me, it felt like a bond for the most part. And I always remember when my first daughter, Sierra, she started to get teeth. And it shows you the different personalities of children. When she first started to get teeth and she bit me for the first time, I bit her back and she cried, and she never, when I say bit back,
are you back the girl?
Yes.
Yes.
The France back.
Oh, yes. When the little one bite me, I yam his little.
Their mom is a little
Mommy ain't playing.
I tried that with her. Like when I bit her back, she looked at me like, wait, there's a game. And
Yeah.
she said, that child bite me for the more. And she's the one that breastfeed the longest.
Yeah.
But for her, my experience was different too, because I remember when I first, when she came home from the hospital, I had this phase where I was telling myself, oh my gosh, something is wrong. This child just breastfeeding all the time, and I just exhausted. And then my father, he came and visited me. He was like, well, she looked smaller than she was when she was born. You know, when we took her down, she actually wasn't getting anything because I was so stressed. So I
You
had
see,
to give her.
you see that's the point we keep making. The whole
Yeah,
point.
Yeah. If you aren't good, they
It
aren't
is
good.
correct. It's from
exactly.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
may be. I mean, from newborns to if they're 2, 3, 16, whatever. If
It's
Mm-hmm.
true.
if you're stressed out, the child can't get the breast milk. If you are stressed out, you don't want to go sit and play. If you're
Mm-hmm.
stressed out, you don't want to sit down and talk to the 16-year-old because you can't take it no more. So I think even like leaving from this conversation, I think I think one of the main things we realize that we have to take care of ourselves.
Self-care. Self-care
Deal with
is
stress. Because I know for me,
imperative.
stuff and stress. If we don't deal with it, we cannot be the parents we want to be to our kids. We could
Correct.
you wouldn't have it to give.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that
I
is
thoroughly enjoy this. I feel like we should make it a series and just find
I
different
think so
things
too.
to talk about
To
every
focus on
Wednesday, to
because you know,
focus
that's all
on.
it.
And
we
we
probably
just
talk
went
every
812
around
week.
different things.
so many different things, but like we have not touched on sexuality, we haven't touched on sensuality, we haven't talked on careers, we haven't touched on.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things as women, you know. I think friendships is a big thing we need to talk about. I think
Working out. I
learning,
want to work out again.
exercising, and
Yeah, eating, everything.
body this
Everything.
like how people feel about their bodies. And I have a huge thing like Instagram filters. Do you think as women we are addicted to Instagram filters? Because
Plastic surgery. A lot of people know doing those
oh,
makeovers.
listen,
Yeah.
Breast get a little lift. You know, all these.
listen,
Not only that, but things like breast cancer too. Like, you
yeah,
know, if you had a
taking
double
care of yourself.
mastectomy, like, how do you deal with that and
Mm-hmm.
not being able, especially if you want to not be able to breastfeed your baby.
There's so many
Right.
You know?
conversations.
So many
Yeah.
things. So I guess our
Us know.
who rode with us and stayed with us could probably send each of us, because I know we all had different family members and friends on the live, could send us topics that they would like us to talk about, and let me just make a series out of it, because we need these conversations. It's okay to sit down and talk about all these other things, but a space for women to be like, how y'all feel about this, and we talk about it, like 3 different opinions, and just hash it out. So I thoroughly enjoy this conversation. I do not feel alone or crazy. There are other people out there like me. So I definitely enjoy this, ladies. It was a great time.
Yes, I had a good time.
Yes, me too. And thank you, ladies, for joining me this evening. Before we go, please let everybody know, because Nadia, I don't even think you mentioned what you do, but like let people know who you are, what you do, and how they can find you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nadia. I'll let you go.
You want to be quiet? But I am, I'm Nadia, and well, right now I'm starting a business in actually doing communications and doing like entertainment segments.
Nice.
Yeah, and because I'm right into like hosting and stuff like that. So when I really start the business fully and I set out my information, you always find it on my Instagram. So, and if you wanna message me, if anybody out there is having a twin and you feel like you're gonna go mad, it's gonna be okay. You can message. And it was a great conversation. And Rhasheda and I, we have a part to meditate. So
yes,
we're leaving with homework.
Yes, we have to come back next next episode of this to say we meditated for this amount of time and this is how we felt. Again, I'm Rhasheda Skeete, and I am the CEO and lead virtual administrative professional at The Virtual Assistant, where we provide remote administrative and social media management services to busy entrepreneurs. So everybody's starting a business and realizing that it's not as glamorous and great as it is. And there are some tasks and there are some things that people just don't want to do. You reach out to me and I kind of handle those for you. So social media management, calendar management, we do some event planning as well, automation, all those things that we can handle for you. So like moving on through your business and operating your business is a little smoother.
and also a t-shirt brand called We Are Royalty. So Nadia, when you open your business and you need some help on the back end, just shout out to me. My company's page is at _the virtual assistant. And yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I am Chamara Hollingsworth, the CEO of Vision to Reality International. What I do is I help women connect with their tribe and scale up their business through the use of systems and processes. So actually, Rhasheda's business and my business actually kind of go hand in hand, because you need to know the processes in order to get the automations, you know? And definitely, if you need help getting and keeping repeat clients or building out your team, I'm the person that you can come to. We can come up with the strategies and processes necessary for your business to be able to function. So thank you, ladies, and thank you everyone who would have come out tonight so that we could have this much needed conversation. I'm actually looking forward to doing more of these, because clearly this is like the first 2-hour segment that I have had.
For sure. This is the first time I've sat on a live this long, and I didn't feel it. I did not feel it. I didn't feel it. So I am definitely looking forward to doing this again, for sure.
Clearly, we need to have these conversations some more. So I wish everyone here a wonderful night. You can find me at Make It Happen with Chamara. I forgot to say that just now, on Instagram and Facebook. And we can go from there. So thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
For sure. Send us those topics. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
Yep. And have a absolutely wonderful night tonight, everyone.
My kids will stay up, so let's go to bed.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.